Good morning all, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to my proposal, if accepted, in the role of lead or head of physical performance in the Australian men's Olympic time trial team. It'd be a great pleasure of mine to implement the skills and incorporate the knowledge I've gained over many years' experience in the high performance industry. I have over 10 years' experience within the high performance industry. I originally began my career as a strength and conditioning coach in the NRL, then moving to the role of Head of Strength and Conditioning at the Australian Institute of Sport. Over this time, I have gained experience with multiple sports and various training regimes. Across this short presentation, I'll outline and highlight the key strategies that I wish to implement if successful in gaining the role of Head of Physical Performance. The primary focus of mine will be the implementation of pre-competition routines, with inclusion of structured and targeted warm-ups, guidance surrounding nutrition and meal preparation, and finally the integration of an optimal recovery regime prior to competition. I believe that these core factors surrounding pre-competition have the potential in creating small change with subsequent formation of a significant effect in improving the performance of our men's time trial team if undertaken correctly. As I previously mentioned, the major focus will be to incorporate the idea of a structured whilst individually tailored pre-competition routines into Cycling Australia. In recent years, there has been a significant shift towards pre-competition routines. Current literature and experts in the field have endorsed the use of pre-competition routines, claiming to potentially prevent choking. Pre-competition routines provide the athlete with a sense of familiarity in what they are doing. This allows them to gain a sense of trust, knowing that it has worked in their training programs. Multiple studies have correlated through surveys that the use of pre-competition routines significantly increased the athlete's trust and positively reduced their stress levels prior to competition. It is well understood that warm-ups are a crucial component of a successful race or performance. Across my vast experience, the warm-up phase is poorly done. In recent times, the concept of how we should be warming up our athletes has considerably changed, from static to dynamic warm-ups. The main reason underlying this change is to try and increase muscle temperature while activating the athlete's neuromuscular pathways. I've been involved in many research programs significantly backing the use of dynamic warm-ups. Over the 3-year period prior to the Tokyo Games, the focus will be on building a structured and specifically tailored warm-up program for the athletes to complete. Once I've developed a greater understanding of the individual athlete, I'll be able to provide specific warm-ups tailored to that individual. An overview of the warm-up would include foam rolling, dynamic stretches, neural activation, and sport-specific exercises. For example, splits of 60 seconds at 100 RPM over 20 minutes prior to competition. A major portion of the funding provided would be used to better monitor our 3 athletes in our program. Effective athlete monitoring systems that I have previously used include Kinetic Performance, Edge 10, and Kitman. These monitoring systems range from $20,000 to $40,000 a year. The information gained will significantly alter and change the way the athletes are monitored with more specific and reliable data surrounding the athletes and their response to training loads in the gym or on the bike. A technique I'm yet to use, however, would be excited to incorporate into a pre-competition routine is the use of a priming session in the gym. Current literature has identified both pros and cons of priming, making it a very controversial topic. However, I believe its benefits are scientifically significant enough to endorse the technique's use. If I was to implement such a strategy, I would do so one day prior to competition in the form of a weight session, incorporating just 2 movements, a squat and power clean. The purpose of a priming session is to neurally stimulate the athlete's central nervous system, preparing them for competition. Close monitoring of these sessions over a long duration is important to ensure the athlete is prepared for competition based off historical evidence collected in the previous 3 years leading into the Tokyo Games. In order to measure these variations, I would encompass the use of a linear position transducer from GymAware. This would cost roughly between $200 and $400 for each device. The main purpose of using a GymAware device is that it allows continual tracking and monitoring of the athlete's power, velocity, and acceleration throughout the movement. This device will play a vital role in flagging any risk hazards prior to the athlete's performance, allowing me to appropriately adjust their recovery strategies. Nutrition is arguably the most important factor in a successful performance. The importance of having the athlete's diet correctly prescribed throughout training, pre-competition, and the competition phase is essential. Another key element I'd like to add and have used with previous teams is a 3-day pre-competition routine meal schedule, ensuring that the correct macro and micronutrients are met. As this is out of my scope of practice, and in order for this to be undertaken correctly, I recommend employing a part-time dietitian. Discussion with the dietitian would encompass the necessity of keeping the athlete's meals similar no matter where the competition is located, and tailoring the individual athlete's needs, taking into consideration their likes, dislikes, and any allergies they might have. This would ideally be developed over the first few months to ensure correct nutrient requirements are met. A pre-competition routine that I'd like to implement is the order and strategies of recovery that the team use. I have a current list of techniques gained from experience that could be trialled over a period of time. After discussion with the team's athletes, I plan to eliminate strategies that the athletes failed to benefit from, thus allowing me to create a more refined and individualised recovery plan. These are compression garments, cryotherapy, hot and cold water immersion, and pneumatic compression boots. All of the proposed strategies have been previously used and proven to significantly aid in the optimal recovery of elite athletes. The recovery strategy would begin 3 days prior to competition or after a heavy training block. The majority of techniques used are readily available. However, cryotherapy may be difficult to find depending on the location of training or competition. It is important not to overuse the recovery techniques, as athletes may lose responsiveness to these. Therefore, they will only be used prior to competition or following a heavy training block. From the vast range of initiatives that I have displayed today, ideally all of them would fall into place. However, having worked in many sporting teams before, I do understand the constraints of the real world. These new strategies will be incorporated progressively as the team progresses to Tokyo 2020. They will be individually refined for each athlete to optimise their performance. Every strategy I've suggested today is currently used within other high performance settings and is working effectively. I believe this is the very best way forward for the men's Olympic time trial team to win gold in Tokyo. The idea has been formed around the concept of pre-competition routines and how that positively impacts on our athletes' performance on the day. I have faith in my own ability to bring a new edge to Cycling Australia. I'm highly motivated and have the ability to learn and adapt quickly to new environments and situations. I'm able to work autonomously and within a multidisciplinary team, enhancing the skills and performance for all those involved. Thank you.